All right, the next one we have is 1/3. If you'll recall, this is one of the ones that we want you to have memorized. If not, you can definitely go ahead and do the division. Say you do forget, you can say what is 1 divided by 3, and you can add that decimal, add a 0. 3 goes into 10 3 times, giving me 9. We subtract to get 1, add another 0. 3 times 3 again is 9. So we see that 1/3 as a decimal, you can see this pattern continue, is 3/10 repeating. And if you recall going back up here to the ones that we want you to have memorized, you'll see that in that chart of common conversions. And then kind of just referring back to this, what that is as a percentage. Remember, going from a decimal to a percentage, we multiply by 100, which is moving that decimal twice to the right. Dr. Pepper, 2 times 2 words. So we get 33.3 repeating percent, but the preferred way of writing that is 33 1/3%. All right, moving right along, we start with a percentage on the next one, 705%. So to remove the percentage, we divide by 100 to take the percentage off, which moves the decimal 2 places to the left, which is 7 5/100. As a fraction, that's 7 5/100. And then obviously we're going to reduce 5 divided by 5 is 1, 100 divided by 5 is 20. Next one is another common one. 1 as a decimal, the decimal is right after the 1. If you move that decimal 2 places to the right, multiply it by 100, the percentage is 100%. And as a fraction, it's also just the whole number 1, 1 over 1, which is just 1, but 1 as a decimal and 1 as a fraction, the whole number 1 is the same, and as a percentage, it is 100%. Okay, the next one we start with the fraction, and to take that fraction to a decimal, we need to take 4 and divide it by 5. Remember, the line in the fraction is always division. And we'll add the decimal point. We can add a 0. 5 goes into 40 8 times, which is exactly 40 with no remainder. And where that decimal is, remember, it moves straight up. So 3 8/10 is 3 4/5 as a decimal. And then we multiply by 100 to make it a percentage, moving that decimal 2 places to the right to give me 380%. And I'm going a bit faster now, but it's because, all of these are the same, and you should be able to quickly go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. 4 54/100 is going to be 4 54 out of 100. And when you think about that, once you understand that place value, it just gets so fast for you to go from decimal to fraction, fraction to decimal. I mean, it just should get a lot easier. Now, we're going to start reducing this. 54 and 100 are both divisible by 2. If we divide by 2, that's going to give us 27 over 50. And then there's not another common factor that goes into 27 and 50, so that's the reduced version of that fraction. When we go to a percentage, we're going to multiply by 100, moving the decimal 2 places to the right to give me 454%. 75%, if we divide by 100, that's going to bring us 2 places back to the left. This should be one that you know. That's 75/100, but we know that's a really common one up in our common conversions. That reduces to 3/4 when we divide both of those by 25. All right, we have 525 thousandths. That 5 lands in the thousandth spot, so that's 525 out of 1,000. And then we can start reducing that. I'm going to say let's divide by 25. So let's take 525, divide it by 25. That's going to give us 21. 1,000 divided by 25 would be 40. And that would be a reduced fraction because there's not a common factor that both go into 21 and 40. When we make it a percentage, we're going to multiply it by 100. That's what percentage is. And so move the decimal 2 places to the right to give me 52 5/10%. 2/3 is one of our common ones. You can still take 2 and divide it by 3, but you really should know that that's 6/10 repeating. And when we move the decimal 2 places to the right, that's 66.6 repeating percent, which is 66 2/3%. And that's also up there in your common conversions. And you'll notice if you do forget that and you go here to divide, 3 goes into 26 times to give me 18, subtract 2, drop another 0. You'll see that it's the 666 repeating. And so that's how that one's going to work. Last one on your notes, we have a fraction. And just always remember, if I told you, okay, you can use a calculator, you would all immediately remember to take in your calculator 7 divided by 50. It's just that people don't want to do that by hand. So 7 divided by 50. We have a decimal point, add a 0. 50 goes into 7 one time to give me 50. We subtract to get 20, and we can drop another 0. 50 goes into 200 4 times, which gives me exactly 200 with no remainder. And so my answer here is 14 hundredths. And remember, if I came over here and did 14 out of 100, then it would reduce to that 750. It's very easy to go back and forth from a fraction to a decimal. And then to make it a percentage, we'll multiply by 100 and give 14%. So I really like this kind of chart to teach the conversion between fraction and decimal percent. I really, really like this visual. I think it's, I've taught for a long time, and I just think this is very good to use to teach the students. This could be something, like I said, that you have up in your classroom, that you have laminated on their desk. And if I were teaching this, we would do this kind of converting between the three. I would give them some of these every single day for weeks. Give you a decimal, give me the fraction and the percent. Give you a percent, give me the fraction and the decimal. We would repeat this process again and again and again until it just became very natural to the students, because I just don't think they get enough reinforcement in this area. And there's always just icky feelings with students with fractions, especially percentage, not so much decimals, but we just need to reinforce this a lot to where it becomes very, second nature to them, and it doesn't stress them out anymore.